My zipper's stuck. Well, you're not even ready.
I'm not going. With what I've learned about Steve and the firm, I'd be a hypocrite.
Okay, drop the other shoe. What's Steve been doing? Stealing stamps?
Stealing's more serious than that.
For heaven's sake. Steve Kingston?
I wish there were a kinder way of putting it, but there isn't. Steve Kingston is a thief. Yeah.
Thank you. What are you going to do about it?
I don't know yet. Not definitely.
I thought a man was supposed to be innocent until he was proven guilty. Until he is, I think you ought to go to the party. I'm certainly going.
I told you I'm not going. And I'll need the car.
Okay, I'll get a lift. And don't worry. I think you're wrong about Steve. Hey, where's our host?
You look beautiful.
Thank you.
So do you, sweetheart.
Hi, how are you, darling?
As always. See you when you get back.
Steve, how are you? Tonight.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a little wet out tonight.
I think you're right.
I'm going to powder my nose. Don't have too much fun without me.
It can't be done, you know that. Come on inside.
Oh, everybody's here.
Sure. Did you have a hard time getting here, something or what?
No, we were just slow starting. It was...
Too long.
Steve, wait, problems. It's Tony.
What about Tony?
I don't know. He's uptight about something.
What's bothering Tony is the fact that the firm is moving up as younger guys, and old Tony is no longer a younger guy, that's all.
Old Tony is going to block your partnership.
No way.
He says you've been stealing. Well, is there something called the Park Estate?
What did he say about the Park Estate?
He says you're a thief. Well, it isn't true, is it? Why would he say such a thing?
Well, of course it isn't true. You know better than that. But look, maybe I better phone him right now and see if, why don't you cover for me and play the hostess bell?
Hey, Steve. Is everything all right?
I mean, of course it's all right. I'll just be a few minutes, okay?
Okay.
Thank you, sir. Have a nice time tonight. Hey, man, can I ask you something? Not right now. I'm busy, but hang in there.
My wife didn't waste any time, did she?
Tony, I want to talk to you about something. That Park Estate is my client. Now, you had no right to take out that file.
Do you want to discuss the right and the wrong of this matter?
Listen, man, I thought you and I were friends.
Bull, we're not friends. We work for the same firm, and we live in the same neighborhood, but we're not friends.
I want that file, Tony.
I should think you would. Especially with the margin notes that I made. You wouldn't shoot me.
Now hand it over to me.
You stupid fool. Spencer's gonna know anyway.
You told him?
Oh, I just got here myself. I haven't even said hello to my host. Hey, that dress is terrific. I love it. I love it.
Thank you. See you later.
Okay, sweetheart.
Operator, give me the police, please. Harry, this is an emergency. For heaven's sake, give me the police. This is Tony Bloom, Lathrop Way. This is an emergency. A couple of hippies broke into my house, beat me up, spaced out. I was searching for money. Oh my God! Oh no!
What happened to the ice cream suit?
I just spilled some ice cream on it.
How's everything going?
Fine. Everything is going to work just fine.
Hey, come here, come here. Officer, this is Mrs. Bloom.
What's the matter?
Mrs. Bloom, I'm sorry, but could you come with me?
What's happened?
You happen to know any 18-year-olds, Mr. Jones?
No? But I used to be one. Well, let's see if I got all this straight. Your daughter, Christy, left your home in Kansas about 4 months ago and took a ride out here to Los Angeles with a friend.
And then just dropped out of sight. I was heartsick.
Finally, one letter. She said she was getting her head straightened out, to quote her lovely English. Had gotten a couple of things out of her system.
And reading between the lines, she was reaching out to us. She was ready to come back home. So we planned this trip.
But she did keep the date with you on Monday. Where was the meeting, Mrs. Sanders?
At one of those organic food restaurants. You know the type I mean.
Oh, yes. Kind where you don't know what it's doing to their metabolism, but it's certainly making their hair grow.
Well, we talked the whole thing out. And she agreed that she would come back home with us. And we all agreed that we would try to bend over backwards with each other more than we had. But then she had to pack and say goodbye to some friends. But she said that she would see us at our hotel in Beverly Hills by 10 o'clock that night.
Naturally, she didn't give you her new address or her new phone number.
Of course not.
You happen to know the name of her young man?
Eric with a C, Garvin, G-A-R-V-I-N.
You recall the name of the restaurant?
It was on Sunset Boulevard, just past Doheny. Well, I'll never forget that name. Granola Central Station.
Why should I know where this Eric Garvin hangs out?
They told me up in Topanga to try here, and then a couple of guys in Venice, and then Judy.
Which Judy is that?
Christie's friend, Judy.
I don't know this Garvin. And if there's any heat, I don't want to know him.
I am not the heat. I'm just trying to do the guy a favor. I got the documents right here that make him heir to $1,100. Believe me, I don't make enough out of it to horse around with the people who see a narc under every tie and white shirt. Now, you got my card with my phone number on it. Next time he comes in, tell him to call me.
Oh, no sweat, my friend. And nobody's agitated. But you can understand why we played a little cautious, right? You know what Dago Street is? You go up Laurel Canyon and hang a left at the store. Eric's got a crash pad made out of an old bus. You go over White Bridge, and you can't miss it.
Doesn't sound like it. Thanks.
Howdy. My name's Fletcher. You interested in this property?
No, I'm just looking for the people living here.
Living? In that? There's a couple of squatters hanging around. You can guess the type. I'm sorry, maybe they're friends of yours. A young fella and a girl. Name seems to escape me.
Eric Garvin and Christie are the people I'm looking for.
How do you spell those?
Well, Mr. Fletcher, if your name is Fletcher, I'm wondering why a real estate broker would be that interested in a couple of squatters, if you are a real estate broker.
I'm a police officer. Well, Mr. Jones, what's your interest in this?
I represent the girl's parents. She's a runaway.
Naturally.
I imagine that the department's interest is a little more serious than that.
Like murder? Officially, they're wanted for questioning on the Anthony Bloom homicide and robbery.
Eric can't move.
I hear you. He has to move, Christy. You're gonna have to split, man. Both of you. I can feel fuzz all over the neighborhood after what the radio said about him looking for a couple of street people.
You better take off, Christy. You've got someplace to go. Now do what I tell you.
Can you sit up and eat this, or shall I help you?
I haven't got time for anything, Chris. Artemis is right.
Look, whatever you decide to do, I'm not leaving you. I'm going to stay with you.
Okay. We're both leaving. Grab your stuff. Artemis, can we use your bus?
Sure, yeah. I'll tell him you ripped me off.
Go down the back way and get it started. Hey, we can make it.
Hello, Miss Sanders. I can't make a judgment because I don't know the facts. But just because I'm not a cop doesn't mean there are not cops behind me.
Yeah, how close?
At the health food store, tracking back just the way I did.
Eric and I didn't do it. Don't you believe me? It's the truth. I mean, we couldn't kill anybody.
What difference does it make, huh? I mean, we were around there and we're long-haired hippies. And that's the label, man. I mean, we're guilty, right? Anything they want to pin on us.
All right, what really happened that night? Okay, you went to Eric's to say goodbye and pick up your things.
Yeah, to pick up my debutante's wardrobe. Eric and I had sort of an argument. He said that I was copping out if I went back.
Yeah, I'm like a stupid jerk. I started through this empty lot and I fell in the dark and my leg snapped. Thought it was ligaments or something. I didn't know it was broken. I could even put some kind of weight on it, you know what I mean?
So we went back up the road to try to hitch a ride. Do you think anybody would stop for us?
Then you did go by the Bloom house where the murder occurred.
The only place that we stopped was this place where there were lots of people in cars. They wouldn't even let us in to use the telephone.
Remember the address?
It was a big party. Valet parking, you know, the whole bit.
And then we went on down the canyon. His leg was hurt really bad, and we had to get to a hospital.
And this guy stopped and gave us a ride. Look, this joker isn't going to do any good for us. Let's get out of here, huh?
Eric, but I found out it's pretty tough trying to get your ideas across when you're running away from somebody yelling over your shoulder.
The only chance we've got is to run.
On one leg?
You got the keys, Chris?
Sure. Artie?
Hey, good luck, you guys, huh?
All the luck in the world is not going to help them too much.
What key do you want me to wind up now, Pops, huh? Law and order? Or the younger generation and the evils of pot, huh?
Glad you decided to come, darling. You know how sorry I am that you have to go through all this.
All this time since it happened, and the statements I've made to everybody, I can't help remembering you were in that bedroom so long.
Darling, I was in there because I kept on getting a busy signal. I had to get through to Tony as soon as he finished. I just kept on dialing. Gail, I never left that house. There wasn't time enough for that anyway.
I want to believe.
It is the truth. And if I tell you it is the truth, it is. Okay? The police know who did it. The reason that phone was busy is because Tony was calling them. There were a couple of freaked out hippies in that place going through it. before they killed him, he did get to the phone and gave them some sort of description.
Then you're definitely in the clear.
Of course I'm in the clear. Except for one thing. I need the park file. When will the police let you back into the house?
Is it still in the house, the file?
Where else could it be? Darling, I need that file. You're gonna have to get it for me. Okay? You're so beautiful.
Hello.
Hello.
I'm looking for Mr. Kingston.
I am Stephen Kingston.
My name is Jones, Mr. Kingston. I'm a detective. Your cleaning woman said I might find you out here.
Oh.
I'll see you later, Steve. You call me at Winnie's.
I cleared with Lieutenant Keogh for you to get back into the house, Gail.
Excuse me.
She's Gail Bloom.
That's right. I represent her now. Three of us were very close. It's incredible. Tragic. But I believe that I told Lieutenant Keogh everything already. You know, the shocking thing is that it could have happened to any one of us living up here, or down at the beach, or in Beverly Hills, or any place else. Nobody is safe. Please, Jones, have a seat. Make yourself comfortable, okay? These people, no sense of morality anymore. No qualms about breaking in, or holding a knife to your throat, or knocking you over the head. And that's what's frightening.
These people?
They're the two hippies. Oh, would you like a drink?
No, thank you. How did you find out about the hippies?
It was on the news, television, too.
I didn't think the case against them was that strong, myself.
Why not?
Well, the one with the broken leg, he couldn't do much, could he?
Now, Lieutenant Keogh didn't tell me about that one. Huh. But from what I heard about the struggle that Tony Bloom put up, maybe he broke the guy's leg in the fight. Or maybe the other one actually killed Tony Bloom.
The other one was a girl. Or didn't the lieutenant tell you that either?
Was it a girl? That's incredible. Well, some of those girls these days, I guess you just can't tell the difference anymore, can you? But tell me, Jones, how does Lieutenant Keogh like a man on his staff to go against his own murder theory?
Me? That makes you think I'm on Lieutenant Keogh's staff.
You told me you were a detective. What's this all about? Aren't you a detective?
Private detective. I wanted to talk to you because I was told you gave the party that night.
That's right. And Mrs. Bloom was here. I mean, that's all a matter of record. Tony Bloom was late coming home, and he was going to come along later. So...
You had valet parking?
I certainly did, yes.
Well, I wanted to find out what outfit you used and get the names of the car jockeys that were here.
Why?
The two suspects, the young hippies, said that they talked to the parking attendant and asked to use the phone. Well, if they did that before they passed the Bloom house, it kind of rules out the possibility that they beat up on Mr. Bloom and murdered him, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I guess you're right. Now, what if he actually broke the guy's leg in the fight?
Doesn't seem logical that they would limp back up here and talk to people, be seen, make their identification that much easier, does it?
No, it doesn't. You're right. So what you want from me is the valet parking service?
That's all. Be a very great help, Mr. Kingston.
I'm glad to help.
Chuck has his own servers. I've used him for years. Now, I got his number right here, so I can give it to you.
You know the biggest problem parking cars in Southern California? Making sure your legs don't give out on you. Tower Road, Summit Drive, the old calf muscles and tendons, I'll tell you.
Yeah, I have the same hazards in my profession. Now, about those two, they were coming west on Mulholland?
Right, the 8900 block. And we were swamped. Party just starting to swing. So I had to say no.
Wasn't one of them hurt?
Yeah, his leg. The guy was really in pain. The girl practically had to hold him up. I hated to have to say no dice, but I work for Mr. Kingston a lot, and I know he's got a short fuse.
Then they went on by down the hill to the 8700 block.
Yeah, they mumbled something hostile and kept on going.
Would you be able to identify them?
Tell you the truth, Mr. Jones, I never pay much attention to faces. Radiator grills, yes. People, no.
Lieutenant, I guess that cleans it up for me.
Okay, Ames, I'll see you downtown.
You talked to Barnaby Jones yet? Got here just a few minutes ago with that open-faced, friendly smile of his, you know.
Where is he?
Right here. Will, I'd like to talk to you. Have you got a minute?
Just.
Well, Lieutenant, I think I'll take this stuff down to the lab.
So long, Ames. Will, one of the kids you're questioning is a client of mine.
Tough. Which one?
The girl.
Well, she needs a lawyer, too. More than she needs you right now.
Will, a 90-pound teenager beats a 6-foot man to death.
It's a cinch. The boyfriend's holding him.
Not such a cinch if the boyfriend's got a broken leg.
Listen, I know they said it happened earlier. Falling down a hill or something.
Do you know I can deliver a witness who will confirm it?
Who?
The valet parking attendant at the Kingston party.
You got to him first? How come we missed him? Ames? Ames! Somebody's gonna get chopped off at the pockets. How reliable is the statement? Time check out?
Seems to. But what I really want is permission from you to talk to the Sanders girl.
Sure. Listen, as long as you're laying your cards on the table, what does Eric Garvin and the Sanders girl have to say about how he got to the emergency hospital to get his leg set?
Hitch. Car picked him up near Lookout Mountain.
That's a lie. They stole the car, Barnaby. We found it in the hospital parking lot, covered with their prints.
Thanks for telling me. Whose car?
The victims. Tony Bloom.
You're both in a mess of trouble, young lady. You need all the help you can get. And whether or not you get it from me depends on when you start telling the truth. Now, one more lie, and I drop it. You understand?
Okay. Yes, sir. Look, the only reason that we went to the Bloom house was to try to call Artie so he would come and get us. We rang and nobody came to the door. So we ripped off the car. But we never went inside, and we sure never killed anybody.
You were more or less identified by 4 people. 2 guests who arrived about the time you did. The parking attendant and a woman walking her poodle. Did you happen to see anybody outside who may have committed the murder?
Wow. There was a valet. We talked to him. And there was a car that drove up just then. We asked them. Oh, and there was this guy that looked like he was leaving the house, and then he went back into the house around to the side like.
Could you identify him?
Heck no. I probably wouldn't have remembered him except that he was wearing very fancy threads. Dressed all in white.
White suit.
Yeah, very Marcello Mastroianni. Very cornball, Mr. Jones. Is that all you want?
If that's all you can tell me.
Will my mother be coming down?
I imagine she can get permission.
Well, I guess we'll both survive. She always comes loaded with handkerchiefs. Thank you very much, Mr. Jones.
I'll be talking to you the day after tomorrow, Christy. They may have moved you by then. Hybrid talisman?
Reporter or policeman?
I'm Barnaby Jones, ma'am, a private investigator.
Well, first time in my life I ever have detectives asking me questions, and not one of them's younger than me. Well, I always knew I missed my chance with Bogey.
Actually, I want to talk to Mrs. Bloom. I understand she's staying with you.
Oh, no, she went back to her own house. I guess everyone knows which one it is now. She's probably there.
I want to ask you a question about the party. Who was wearing the white suit?
White suit? Nobody was wearing a white suit. Well, maybe the bartender. No, he was wearing a red mess jacket. Nobody was wearing a white suit, Mr. Jones. Why did you think that?
Must have been mistaken. Thank you very much, Mrs. Harbeck.
Oh, just a minute, Mr. Jones. You are a good detective. It is a hybrid talisman.
Hello.
Steve?
Did you find the file, darling?
No, I'm still looking. I think you ought to know that detective who talked to you, the gray-haired one.
Yes, what about him?
He was here. He just left. He wanted to know what suit you wore at the party.
So he asked you too, huh? Winnie just told me that he had been to her house.
What's it all about?
Oh, it's nothing important, really. Listen, maybe it's best if you don't call me, unless, well, you know what I mean.
Oh, yes, I understand. And I'm still looking.
Okay. All right, keep at it. Bye. Well, you back again, Joan?
I'm afraid so for a minute.
Come on in. You got a hold of Chuck all right?
Oh, yeah.
Did you get what you needed?
Yes, fine. Thank you very much.
Well, I hope you don't mind if I do my 30 laps.
No, not at all.
I hate to miss a day, you know.
I feel the same way Mark Twain did about physical exercise. When I get the urge, I lie down immediately till it goes away.
That's a good one. So what did Chuck have to say?
He confirmed that he had seen Garvin and Sanders, Garvin with the bad leg, just about the time that they said he had. He also said they asked you to use the telephone, but he told them that you wouldn't like it.
That's right. So now you came to straighten out the business about the white suit and the blue sweater, huh?
I see that both of the ladies have already called.
Well, I am Mrs. Bloom's attorney, you know, Jones. She very correctly told me that you had been by, without, by the way, telling her that you are not on the force. As for Winnie Harbeck, she'd call a man on any excuse.
Well, you got your story down pat.
The beginning of the party was wearing a white suit. I spilled a Bloody Mary on it, on the jacket. So I had to change. That's as simple as that. Okay?
If you were wearing a white suit, then you were the man that Garvin and Sanders saw when they were outside with Chuck.
I went outside to the car because I left a case of booze in the trunk.
If they saw you, Mr. Kingston, there's an even better chance that you saw them.
Come to think of it, I remember Chuck talking to somebody. I just thought they were some of the guests, you know? You're kind of skeptical about me changing clothes, Jones.
I don't mean to. It makes good sense. But it would be a lot easier to accept if you hadn't already sent the suit out to the cleaners.
Cleaner's pickup is tomorrow, Jones. And the suit, Jones, is right in there. Yeah. Let's see now. Take a look.
Looks like a couple of things, including blood.
You want to take a bet, Jones?
No, I don't want to bet. I got too many things on my mind.
Oh, yeah? Like what?
Like, let's assume that those kids did not murder Mr. Bloom.
Well, as a lawyer, I'd have to say that no proper foundation was laid for that.
All right, try a little foundation. The desk sergeant who took the call from the Bloom house logged a message like this. 2 guys broke into my house. They beat me. Now, wouldn't you think that Mr. Bloom would have noticed if one of them was a girl?
Yeah, you think so.
I think the murderer made that call. He remembered seeing those kids in this area somewhere, not too clearly, and he's trying to lay it off on them.
Aha, Dr. Watson, you already tricked me into admitting I did see them.
Look, I'm just noodling around with all this. I'm trying to make some sense out of it.
Do me a favor, Jones. Start noodling around with something called motive for me to have killed my good friend Tony Bloom, all right?
I saw the glimmer of a motive out by the pool.
My, what big eyes you have, Grandpa. Gail and I embrace each other. We kiss. People do that, you know, for more than one reason. Especially if there was a death in the family.
It didn't quite seem like a kiss of condolence, or a kiss a lawyer might give his client.
You are serious, aren't you? A crime of passion. How romantic. And how ridiculous. Lovers don't kill spouses today, Jones. They just move in together. Besides, I got a girl. You know what she is? She's a biology major at UCLA. Now, why don't you go down to Lieutenant Keogh and tell him all about your theory? Because I'm quite sure he'll get a good laugh out of it.
I might just do that. They could use a good laugh down at headquarters.
Be here.
Maybe Tony had a messenger pick it up before.
Look, darling, I don't know what Tony might have put into that file, but I don't want Spencer to get hold of it. What about the bedroom?
Barnaby, you told me you would stop at 7.
I'm almost finished.
What'd you find out?
The stain on top may have been a Bloody Mary, but something tells me that underneath is blood that he tried to wipe off.
Did you check out?
Nope. Tomato juice with just a trace of Worcestershire. A Bloody Mary without a drop of blood.
Barnaby, do you have to be told that some people in this building would call this withholding evidence?
Well, how can you say I'm withholding evidence when I'm laying it right in your lap?
How did you get it? Marilyn, you there? I'll have to send this to the lab and get these stains analyzed.
Now, hold it, Lieutenant. I've already analyzed it, and it's nothing but citric acid, ascorbic acid, sodium chloride, and pulp, tomato juice.
Yes, Lieutenant. Morning, Mr. Jones.
Morning.
Tell Dr. Tamaka that the good fairy left this in a basket on my doorstep, and I'd like him to take
Hold it.
What now?
You know, I struck out on the stain, but isn't this a kind of a funny thing to have up your sleeve if you've been wearing the jacket? Price tag still sewed in? He didn't wear this. Brand new, right off the rack. He set me up.
You're saying he got rid of the jacket with the blood on it?
The real blood.
Maybe. Or maybe he wore it with the price tag in it. I've done it.
How long ago? Last time I wore anything with a price tag in it was a pair of knickers that my mother gave me for Easter because she wanted to prove she could afford to give everybody a new outfit.
Well, I'm sorry to say it still doesn't make things look better for those kids.
About those kids. If they were dumb enough to leave prints all over the Bloom car, how come they were smart enough not to leave any prints inside the Bloom house when they were supposed to be struggling with them?
Barnaby, you've got too many friends in this department. Who let you in on that?
You did, Wilbur, just now. I was only guessing. Anything else I ought to know? I think I'm still one up on you.
Well, I have here a transcript from Charles Vlahos, the parking attendant, only you already know all about his testimony. And then there's a one-pager here from Jonathan Hughes Spencer, head of the law firm that Bloom was with, and Kingston was with also, saying that Tony Bloom had called Spencer minutes before he was killed. He had something of vital importance to discuss with him, about which Spencer knows nothing more, and I doubt if any of us ever will.
Thanks. Guess that makes us even. I'm sorry if I've frightened you, Mrs. Bloom.
Mr. Jones, I'm sorry. I don't have time to talk to you.
You know what's in that?
Personal papers that don't concern you. Mr. Jones, I'm sorry. I have nothing to discuss with you.
I don't know exactly what's in there, but Mr. Kingston does, doesn't he?
He's not here.
But he knows. And I know that whatever is in there is the reason your husband was murdered.
No, he was murdered by those hippie kids who broke in to rob the house. These are private papers.
Mrs. Bloom, it figures that those papers are the reason your husband wanted to talk to Mr. Spencer that night.
Will you please leave me alone and get out of this house?
All right, if you want to shield the man who killed your husband, that's one thing. But I don't believe you do. No man goes through a rigmarole with jackets like that unless there's something pretty feathery. And he saw two men in the darkness, just as the murderer did when he called the police.
Jones, put up your hands.
Steve.
Now move to the fireplace.
What are you doing?
Put your hands above it. And spread your legs apart.
Steve, what did he mean when he said...
Shut up.
I won't shut up. I want to know.
Laying a foundation for you, Kingston. You wanted a foundation. What's the motive, Mrs. Bloom?
Steve, you swore to me you didn't.
Now be quiet. And open the door, Gyan.
Open it!
Now, Gail, you and I weren't here, but inquisitive Mr. Jones was here, as he was here before when he stole my jacket. Now, unfortunately, he went outside, he slipped on the wet deck, he cracked his skull, he fell into the pool, and he drowned. Now, you get that?
Steve, why?
Because I say so, Gail.
Mr. Kingston, you mind if I suggest a bargain?
You haven't got much to trade, Jones.
Except that if you kill me, Mrs. Bloom will probably decide that you actually did kill her husband, and right now she's not quite sure. And if you stage an accident, that brings on more questions, lots of questions, because believe it or not, I've got some friends in homicide and some more scattered through the department. And they will hang on like bulldogs until they are absolutely certain there was no foul play. Mr. Kingston, you've got me covered. Do you mind if I turn around and look you in the eye?
You just talk, Jones.
No. You're a very smart lawyer. All you need is a little time. A little time in the office to straighten things out, to sort of get things in shape, in condition. Why don't we burn that report and all of Tony's notes? Then nobody will know. And I'll walk out of here with a healthy skull, and you two will be home free.
Yes. Please, no killing. I wish I could burn everything. I'm glad I don't know what's in here. Steve, please do it. Do as he says.
Open it. Take out the file and bring it to me. Now light it.
Stand right where you are.
And she testified against Kingston? Mrs. Bloom did.
Yes, Christy. Even true love doesn't run smooth. And theirs was kind of rough all the way.
Well, ours is going to be different from now on. I hope.
So do I. Won't be easy.
Nothing's easy today. But every once in a while, some of you old establishment guys surprise me. Anyhow, you did, Mr. Jones.
Thanks, Eric. You know, one of these days, maybe your parents and Christy's parents might surprise you, too. It's amazing how much we grown-ups can learn in a couple of years. Dig?
Oh, I dig.
Supposed to be senior. Stop horsing around. We'll never get finished in here. A lot of tables still need chairs, you know. Oh, put Mrs. Ogden next to the minister. Maybe he can shame her into buying some tickets for the tennis fund. I certainly couldn't, even though I am headmistress. Don't forget those flowers tomorrow morning, first thing here.
Oh, Janet.
Yes.
Your brother.
Thanks, Victor. George.
Looks very nice.
Oh, hope so.
Oh, I found 10 of these medieval histories you wanted. Now, if you need any more,
George, those are very heavy and 10 is fine, but why don't you get one of the boys to help you?
Oh, no. They have their job, and I have mine. I think I've been sober long enough to carry my own weight and 10 medieval histories.
George, thank you.
I'll put them in the office.
Right. Ladies and gentlemen, I think we've done about all we can for tonight. And some of you have some midterm exams to study for. Thank you.
Paul, what are you doing here?
Boy, you gave me a scare, Mr. Enright.
What are you doing here, Paul? Come on out. Come on.
Well, I'm working at student desk this week. I came back because I left a book. I'm cramming for exams, so I gotta go.
You opened a private file, didn't you, Paul? How'd you learn the combination?
I didn't take the money.
All right, please, Paul. I think we better go talk to my sister about this.
I didn't take anything,
right
Mr.
now.
Enright.
Paul,
I didn't take anything. What's the rush? You got it, didn't you? Charles, listen, George Enright caught me at it. It's awful. We gotta get help.
Haste makes waste, Paul. Now tell me again, without the emotional embellishment.
I didn't mean to.
Tell me, Paul, what's awful?
I think I killed him.
You think? Now, if you're ever gonna be a newspaper man, always make sure of the facts. Come on. Back to the scene of the crime.
Well, Paul, this makes you the first murderer I've ever known. I'm gonna call the police. Operator? Your mouth is dry, dear boy. The adrenaline is short-circuiting your brain and you'll botch everything. The police, bumbling as they are, will ask questions. What were you doing there, Paul Thayer? And your buddy, your pal, Charles Lomax, what brought him to the headmistress's office? Do you want to tell them all that, Paul? What are we gonna do? Hang in there, Paul. Take the head. I'll take the feet. Come on, Paul, he won't bite you.
bottle. Let that be a lesson to you. That's what happens to alcoholics who can't stay away from their booze. They get into all kinds of terrible accidents. Sometimes fatal.
And there shall be no night there, and they need no candle, neither light of the sun. For the Lord God giveth them light, and they shall reign forever and ever. And he said unto me, these sayings are faithful and true. And the Lord God of the holy prophet sent his angel to show unto his servants the things which must be true. Behold, I come quickly. Blessed is he that keepeth the sayings of the prophecy of this book. Amen.
I can do, would you let me know?
Oh, of course, Ron. Thank you. Thank you. Well.
Are you all right, Janet?
Oh, I'm fine, thank you. It was a lovely service. I appreciate it.
I'll call on you later.
Sure now.
Go on, get out of here. I'm fine. Barnaby Jones?
Yes, Miss Enright. You have my sympathy, Miss Enright. I didn't know if I should come now or...
I'm glad you did. I want my brother's name cleared. Whatever it may cost.
Well, since I was driving through town, I stopped and had a talk with Lieutenant Roth.
And did he convince you that George stole that money?
Well, let's say he made a good start.
Mr. Jones, Lieutenant Roth didn't know my brother. I'd like to tell you about him. This was George. He loved books. When we agreed that I'd take control of the school, he insisted on earning his keep, as he put it, by staying on as our librarian.
Am I right? In your statement to the police, you said that your brother gave up drinking about 8 months ago.
Yes, as soon as I'd officially taken over the school. I assumed that he just no longer needed whiskey as an escape from responsibility.
What do you figure set him off drinking that night?
I don't know how George got to the cliff. I don't know how the whiskey got on him. I don't know how the money from the tennis fund got into his pockets. I only know one thing. My brother. He didn't need to steal. Look, this shelf here, all first editions. This set of Longfellow alone, it's worth thousands. If my brother wanted money for liquor or anything else, he could have sold it. Was the man who lived here a thief?
This is called doubles, Lomax. Now in doubles, you let your partner hit the ball when it comes into his side of the court, okay?
Oh, good Lord. Mid-year finals here all next week, and then the SATs, and then the University of California stuff.
What difference does it make? You're gonna flunk them all anyway.
Everything under control, Eddie? Paul?
Yeah, no sweat, ma'am. Here, Mr. Cather, please. You take this booklet and you read it carefully at your leisure, and if you have any questions whatsoever, you don't hesitate to ask anyone in this office, okay?
Well, Paul, we'll need to... Oh, Janet. I didn't think you'd be in today. Why, I can handle anything that comes up.
I really want to, Victor. This is Mr. Jones. Mr. Jones, this is our college counselor, Victor Stern.
How do you do, sir?
How do you do, Mr. Stern?
As you know, I wasn't satisfied with Lieutenant Roth's reports, and so I've asked Mr. Jones to come from Los Angeles to make some further investigations for me. If he needs anything, I know you'll give him all the help you can.
Of course, Mr. Jones. Anything I can do.
Thank you, Mr. Stern.
Paul, I'll need 50 copies of this college requirement.
Yes, sir. 50 copies right away.
Game, set, match. Nice going, guys. Ross, I want to show you why that second serve of yours isn't working, okay? Lomax. Now, maybe you got the rest of the school conned into thinking that you're the greatest since sliced bread. But on a tennis court, you're nothing but a second-rate grandstander.
Lucky idiots, we can beat them any 4 out of 5 sets.
Yeah, if you'd let your partner play, Lomax.
When I draw a lousy partner, Whitney, I have to try to carry him.
Big deal.
Charles, I gotta talk to you.
Only 1 autograph per customer, please. Did you hear that grandstander crack? Boy, you give a guy like Fannin a little authority and he turns into...
Listen, we're in trouble.
The official verdict was accidental death while intoxicated. Official.
Yeah, well, you know that guy who came in late to the cemetery? He's a private detective from L.A. that Enright hired.
How do you know?
Because I keep my big ears open, that's how. He's up in her office right now going over the whole thing. I'm telling you, he's gonna find out.
He won't have time to find out. Not if we handle it right.
You've handled it so far, and we're going down the drain.
No, Paul. Neither of us is going down the drain, nor down the tube, nor up the creek. A little spice has been added to the brew, that's all.
It was an accident. I'm gonna tell.
You are not gonna burn yourself, and you are not gonna burn me. Do you understand?
What are we gonna do?
We have to make sure that our tall, straight, gray-haired private investigator from Lotus Land finds his criminal, don't we? And clears the blot from the Enright escutcheon.
But how?
We have to throw a little light on the in the woodpile. I was thinking that it's inconceivable that Paul Thayer, class vice president, honors student, etc., is the type of young man who goes around robbing people and killing them in fits of temper. But he is. Full of psychological hang-ups, understandably uptight about his position. Yes. I'm afraid Mr. Fannin killed old George. Strong, powerful man with a hot temper. He's liable to do anything. Even murder.
I'm Paul Thayer. This is Charles Lomax.
Oh, how do you do?
How do you do, sir?
Thayer? Lomax. Yeah, I've been reading about you. You are president of the senior class, edited the paper, a lot of school activities.
I'm from the East, Mr. Jones. I learned to stuff ballot boxes at my father's knee. Is there anything we can do to help, sir?
Well, yeah, there might be, especially since you're on the paper. Any idea how this flash bulb got in the closet?
I can't imagine, sir.
Why, Paul, this is the size you use. You must have dropped it.
Me? How could I drop
Our layout on George Enright, remember? You took 3 or 4 shots up here.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, sure. I guess it's mine. I'm always losing them, you know?
Oh.
Do you have any offices besides Los Angeles, Mr. Jones, working with other private investigators?
You know, that's as good a loaded question as I ever heard. 3 pieces of information at 1 crack. Where did you hear that I was? Well, of course. All good newspaper men know what's going on around them, don't they?
You are investigating Mr. Enright's murder, aren't you?
The inquest didn't seem to find any reason for assuming murder. Did you discuss your theory with anyone else at the time of the inquest?
No. Then I wasn't sure of my ground. But I'm very sure of it now. And there's a lot more than meets the eye in this whole tragic mess, Mr. Jones.
A witness talked to Charles.
And when I was going back to the dorm from the auditorium, 10:30 or so, I saw somebody go in the administration building. That's where Miss Enright's office is. You know.
Recognize him, Willie?
Not exactly. It was too far away. A man, definitely. Just a guy. Medium build.
Well, it's not very much to go on.
I thought it one of those borderline facts, too, but possibly enough to have the verdict questioned.
Yeah, well, as I say, that's not very much, but you never know. Well, thank you, gentlemen. Good luck on those exams.
Did I do all right?
Not bad at all. Bit of the hook, bit of the line, next the sinker.
But I don't get it. Why didn't you want me to give him the name?
It's been almost a week, you idiot. You can't wait all this time and then up and say, oh, by the way, I forgot to mention it, but I happened to see Ron Fannin, the tennis whiz, up there with old George the night he was totaled. Police are like turkeys in November. Start feeding them a bunch of garbage, they get suspicious. Now, Paul, got your checkbook handy?
My checkbook?
Write out a check for $100. Payable to the tennis committee fund. Let's see, today's the 17th. Old George died the 14th, dated 2 days before that, the 12th.
What's the idea?
Just do it, Paul.
What'd you have me write it for if you're just gonna burn it?
You've got to feed them their clues bit by bit. That way they'll swallow it all. I have some good news and some bad news. First, the good news. You've dug far enough. Now, the bad news. Open it. It's getting late. Open the coffin.
about that, Paul. He's smiling at you.
Who's gonna do it?
Why, you. You're responsible for the poor man's demise. It's the least you can do. Gently. I think we're ready for the final touches. Mr. Fannin himself.
What's all that, Miss Enright?
They arrested Ron Fannin for murdering George.
What?
Lieutenant Roth said that George must have surprised him while I was trying to break into the cabinet. He killed George. Then he tried to make it look like an accident.
That's a mighty far cry from their first verdict.
That first verdict was death while intoxicated. George couldn't have been drunk.
Let's see the boys first. Fannin's with his lawyer right now. He goes before Judge Perry for arraignment at 4 o'clock.
Things are moving pretty fast, aren't they, Hank?
Hello, Mr. Jones. They bringing you in on this officially?
I understand you three have had a busy day.
Look, you understand why we couldn't bring everything to you first.
Perfectly, but Lieutenant Roth and I aren't in competition for a prize. We're both in the same business.
Yeah, same business, different pay.
Lieutenant's been telling me that you boys have been poking around down below the cliff and you came up with some new evidence.
Charles found it near where they found the body.
A Wimbledon button.
I've heard of Wimbledon tennis, but what's a Wimbledon button?
This, Barnaby. It's like an Olympic button. And this is his official Wimbledon blazer we found in his closet.
Oh. Oh, you were lucky to find it.
Oh, yes, sir. We thought the police might have overlooked something when they searched the area originally. And we all know how understaffed this office is, so...
So, with the button, plus what Grant here told us, I got a search warrant and it paid off. Made out by Paul Thayer to the Tennis Committee Fund. We found it in a pile of ashes in Fannin's fireplace.
I thought all the loot was on Enright.
Well, when Fannin suddenly found himself mixed up in a murder, he planted everything on Enright to make it look like an accident. He overlooked that and burned it when he got home.
Well, pretty dumb not to have made sure it burned completely.
Well, maybe, but I'm not about to look a gift horse in the mouth, Barnaby. Especially if he's dumb enough to leave the murder weapon around.
A weapon? Well, Hank, looks like you got this whole thing wrapped up.
Fannin's cellar. These hairs were stuck in a switch. They were caught there after he caved in Enright's skull, after Enright caught him stealing.
The medical examiner confirmed, of course.
They checked against those from the autopsy. The victim's hair, definitely.
Well, looks Looks like I've only got one question to ask you all. When is the hanging?
Well, I don't need a private eye. I need a lawyer.
I'm not looking for a fee, Mr. Fannin. I have permission to talk to you if you want to talk to me. How about it?
You can't help me a bit. Somebody's got me in a box and they want to keep me here. No, I don't want to talk to you, Jones. Now, damn it, would you leave me alone?
I know you're mad, Mr. Fannin. I don't blame you. I just don't believe you're as stupid as Lieutenant Roth must think you are. The case they got against you is pretty convincing. If people want to believe you pulled a dozen dumb moves in the space of an hour.
Okay, let him in. Now, what's in all this for you?
Well, I got myself right in the middle of something I sure didn't expect. All of a sudden, funny questions started getting funny answers. I don't know quite how to explain this to you, but there's something sticking way inside of me here. I don't know if that's my craw or my gullet or what, but anyway, there's something sticking in there and I want to get it unstuck, that's all.
Yeah, well, I got a belly full of my own, too.
Well, let's start spitting them out. Do you know what Roth is counting on, all of it?
Well, there's the flashlight, there's Mr. Enright's hair, there's the blazer button, the tennis fund check, the fact that I knew that there was a couple of $1,000s in the safe.
That's a pretty neat package.
Yeah, but to begin with, I don't even know the combination.
The beauty of circumstantial evidence is that nobody has to prove how you got into the filing cabinet, only that it's obvious you did.
That's about as logical as Willie Grand saying he saw someone who looked like Mr. Fannin about the time that Mr. Enright was killed.
And what do you say to that?
Well, our death was supposed to have been about 10:30, right?
Give or take a few minutes.
Did you ask Janet Enright where she was about then?
What?
She's my alibi, Mr. Jones. She was with me. Ask your client.
I've been telling George that he can rest easy now. He's been exonerated.
An arrest isn't exactly a conviction, you know. Mr. Fannin tells me that when you left the auditorium that night, you and he talked about the tournament until he left you at your door.
That's true.
And you left a little after 10 o'clock.
No, I think so.
Well, it's about 15 minutes from the auditorium to Wyndham House. I walked it today. And another 15 minutes back to the administration building. Let's say a few minutes for talk. That's about 45 minutes, right?
Mr. Jones, the authorities have gone into all of this. They have proof of what Mr. Fannin did.
It's not proof if Mr. Fannin couldn't be there. Now, I'm practically convinced that he couldn't have taken you to your door, gotten back to your offices, gotten up and struggled with your brother, and had death occur at the time the coroner said it did.
I'm sorry, but it's really out of my hands. And I must go.
Miss Enright, very little honor will accrue to your brother's name if it's done at the expense of an innocent man.
Of course not. But how can anyone be sure of how long we were talking, or of how fast we walked? You brought up time and the clock. No one has suggested that Mr. Fannin, who is an athlete, might well have run back across campus.
If you run to a place you intend to rob, witnesses are inclined to remember it.
Mr. Jones, you and I, we both believe in logic.
Yes, Miss Enright, that we do.
All right. What motive could there have been for this crime, except money? Ron Fannin was in my office trying to steal $2,000. Now, it was money that he knew was there because he had given it to me. There is no other motive. And now you must excuse me. I have a million things to do.
Good afternoon.
Well, good afternoon.
You certainly keep things pretty around here.
Well, thank you very much.
How often do you water this time of year?
Oh, I usually turn the sprinklers on about evening this time of the year for about an hour and a half.
You'd think that earth would have settled more, wouldn't you?
I know that some of you are not going to be happy with these exam schedules, but I've done the fairest I can. Some of you will have 2 finals in one day. It can't be helped.
Goodness, boy.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, Mr. Stern. That was quite a job of detective work you young fellas did.
Oh, well, Charles deserves all the credit, sir.
No, it was a real collaboration. Like a copy of the Gazette, Mr. Jones?
Thank you.
Is Miss Enright expecting you, Mr. Jones?
Well, I'd like to talk to her if she isn't too busy.
Janet, Mr. Jones is in the outer office.
How's the case coming?
Oh, Judge Perry has set Monday for the preliminary hearing. No bail.
Mr. Jones.
Miss Enright, I've been thinking what you said about a motive. Now, what if there was something else inside that filing cabinet that somebody wanted more than money?
Here is a check for your services. I think you will find it more than satisfactory.
Well, I'll be glad to take it when I feel that I followed through. But right now, if you don't mind, I'd like to have one more look at what's inside that cabinet and a chance to ask a few more questions.
I'm afraid I'll have to say no. Our school has had more than its share of scandal. I see no point in raking around a problem that the police have already solved. At least to my satisfaction. To put it bluntly, your services are no longer required.
I feel just like a conspirator, and I can't say I like it. Let's go in here.
Yep, we're the same. All 3 of them. Charles Lomax, Paul Thayer, William Gran. All came to Enright with poor or failing grades. Then sometime in the 2nd semester, the grades shot up to A, even straight A's.
Spectacular, not all that unusual, especially when boys decide to knuckle down to work. And when some students come to a demanding prep school, Mr. Jones, they learn to test better.
Or when they happen to know the answers to the exams beforehand. I thought it would shock you when I said that.
I don't know what you're getting at.
All these final exams, questions and answers, were they always kept in that one filing cabinet with the combination lock?
Yes, as long as I've been. Then it wasn't the money the thief was after. It was the answer to the exam questions.
Mm-hmm.
And you think somebody beside Mr. Fannin was the one?
That would explain a lot.
Cheating during an exam is one thing. It's bad enough, but I can't believe this, Mr. Jones.
How much longer are these exams going to last today?
What? Oh, 25 minutes. This is the last one.
And when will they know the result?
They're tabbed by computer. They'll be posted on the bulletin boards by 4:30. Shh. Mr. Jones, come here. I must get back, and you shouldn't be here either.
One more favor. It's important. I want you to fail Charles Lomax and Willie Gran, but not Paul Thayer.
Why, I have no right to tamper with any grades. Their entire futures depend on these tests.
Maybe Ron Fannin's does too.
What good would it do?
Suppose one made the usual 95, 98 on the test, but the other two didn't. Then it would be obvious that the guy that made the high grades had pulled a fast one on his buddies. And if that happens, we might see some fireworks.
Well, Charles is the ringleader, Mr. Jones. Shouldn't he be the one to get the best marks?
No. He's the ringleader, as you say, because he's smart enough not to do the dirty work. He gets stooges to do that. And Paul Thayer is exactly the type that Charles would pick.
Hey, I passed! Way to go! How are you supposed to remember all those dumb dates?
I thought you'd be gone by now, Mr. Jones.
If I'm trespassing, I apologize. But as I told you, I wanted to get to the bottom of this. Get at the truth is what I said. And I would certainly think you would too.
Yes, you told me what you assume. I'd like to know how you expect to prove it.
Out of the mouths of babes, I hope.
Victor, I'd like to see you for a minute.
How did you do, fellas?
We aced it. 2 98s and a 99. Very fair test, Mr. Stern.
I'm sorry, Mr. Jones. I just couldn't do it. I couldn't cheat like that. I just couldn't take the chance.
Willie. Yeah, no kidding. Hey, you know, with finals like these, we can get in any college we want. We gonna make it Stanford?
I was promised a smashing Italian convertible, and I certainly can't ride around with the top down all year at Harvard.
How are you riding around on that road down by the cliff where George Enright's body was found?
Miss Enright told all of us on student desk duty you didn't have permission to be on school property, Mr. Jones.
Want to call a cop?
Actually, we all have something to do, and...
You have nowhere to go, Paul.
Thanks, Lomax. I like your style. You see a problem? you want to meet it head on?
You know, I love the old philosopher, aw shucks bit you use on people, Jones. But why don't we get down to the nitty-gritty?
Suits me fine, except that this doesn't exactly concern you that personally, Lomax. I wanted to talk to Thayer here, but you can go if you want.
No! I mean, well...
Well, why not? You're all for one for all anyway, aren't you? This is just yours, Paul, and I don't see how anyone else could even know about it. It's a photostatic copy of your check that was found in Fannon's fireplace, with numbered 1007 written on the 12th. That's 2 days before Mr. Enright died. I can't figure how come 3 days later, on the 15th, you wrote 2 checks, one numbered 1006 and one 1005. Earlier numbers. Something fishy about the date.
Well, it could happen. I mean, if I wrote it out of order, it could happen.
But you didn't write them out of order, did you, Paul? You dated it 3 days before you wrote it, didn't you?
Yes.
His bank wouldn't give out that kind of information. What did you do, Jones? Bribe some stupid clerk?
No, I just took a shot in the dark. And Paul gave me the answer. Something else kind of funny. This Gazette you gave me the other day.
What about it?
Well, Paul, this picture you took of the people at the funeral, take a look at it. Seem a little unusual to you? Particularly Fannin.
No.
Well, it's kind of small, so I made an enlargement. See, all the buttons are on the Wimbledon jacket. How do you figure?
Let me see that.
No, Paul, you tell me. How could all the buttons be on the jacket when one of them was lost 3 days ago at the cliff?
Fannin simply sewed on a new button. After the murder.
And tore it off days later when the police searched his apartment. Does that seem right, Paul?
He sewed it on badly, I suppose.
Look, I really got to call my family. I promise.
I will wait, Willie. Now, about George Enright's coffin. The people at the cemetery are absolutely mystified. They can't figure how bits of earth got inside the coffin. You see, it was sealed at the funeral home. Yesterday, I got a court order to dig it up, and we found dirt. Dirt from the cemetery inside the coffin. So somebody must have opened it, right? Opened it after the burial.
How could anybody do that?
Have you got any ideas, Paul?
I don't know.
Come on, tell us what really happened, Paul.
Please, Mr. Jones, was an accident that night.
Keep your mouth shut, you stupid idiot.
Please, you got to believe me. I didn't mean to kill him. It was an accident. I told you we should call the police. I told you should have let me.
I'll do that for you now, Paul.
Can't you take the pressure? Can't you keep any cool at all? Everything was working perfect. Everything has worked perfect for years, damn it. And in 5 minutes, you blow everything I've set up for you.
Get me the sheriff's office, please. Lieutenant Roth, if he's on duty.
Yeah, me. Damn it, me. They'd be nowhere without me. You know who figured out how to get those examinations? I did. 3 years ago. I broke that combination. You know how? I used my brain. I figured it out. You know, I knew that it'd have to be something simple. Something right in front of everyone's nose. Janet Enright's birthday. June 18th, 1932. 6/18/1932. She's not 38 like she tells everyone. She's 40 years old. Born in 1932. 6/18/1932. And you ruined everything.
Thank heaven he's all right now. I was so anxious to clear my brother that I let myself be blind to everything and everyone. And those boys. Where did I go wrong?
Where do we all go wrong? Find problems like this in the slums of the ghetto, you're not surprised, but
It happens in the best of families. Even here, where they have all the advantages. Well, there's a lot to do. Thank you, Mr. Jones.
bye, Miss Enright.
The evening sun cast a warm, golden glow over the immaculate grounds of the academy, wrapping the old brick buildings in a comforting embrace. It was a place of learning, of bright futures, and of quiet dedication. Inside the administration building, the atmosphere was one of serene productivity. Janet Enright, the esteemed headmistress, stood near the window of her spacious office, looking out over the courtyard with a gentle smile. She was a woman of profound grace and intelligence, fiercely devoted to her students and her family. Her colleague, Victor, stepped into the room, holding a stack of papers. He paused, following her gaze to the courtyard below. "Oh, Janet," Victor said softly, a tone of admiration in his voice. Janet turned, her eyes lighting up. "Yes, your brother." Victor nodded toward the window. "He looks very nice. He is doing incredibly well." Janet's smile widened, a deep sense of pride swelling in her chest. "Oh, I hope so," she murmured. At that moment, the heavy wooden door to the office swung open, and George Enright entered. His face was slightly flushed from exertion, but his eyes were clear and full of life. In his arms, he carried a towering stack of thick, leather-bound books. George had faced his own personal struggles in the past, but the campus had become his sanctuary, his place of renewal. "Oh, I found 10 of these medieval histories you wanted," George announced, his voice carrying a cheerful resilience. He adjusted the heavy load in his arms. "Now, if you need any more, I can easily go back for them." Janet rushed forward, her brow furrowing with gentle concern. "George, those are very heavy, and 10 is fine. But why do you not get one of the boys to help you?" George shook his head, a proud, stubborn light in his eyes. "Oh, no. They have their job and I have mine. I think I have been sober long enough to carry my own weight, and 10 medieval histories to boot." Janet reached out, lightly touching his arm. Her heart swelled with love for this man who had fought so hard to reclaim his dignity. "George, thank you. I will put them in the office." "Right," George said cheerfully, setting the heavy volumes down carefully on a nearby mahogany table. Down the hall, in the main auditorium, the evening study session was winding down. The room was filled with the soft rustle of pages turning and pencils scratching against paper. The instructor at the front of the room tapped a wooden pointer lightly against his desk. "Ladies and gentlemen," the instructor announced, his voice echoing mildly in the large room, "I think we have done about all we can for tonight. And some of you have some midterm exams to study for. Class dismissed." As the students filed out, returning to their dormitories under the starlit sky, the administration building grew quiet. George Enright, finishing his rounds as the librarian, hummed a quiet tune to himself as he walked down the softly lit hallway toward the headmistress's office to double-check the locks. As he stepped into the office, he froze. The glow of a small flashlight cut through the darkness. A young man, a student, was huddled near the large metal filing cabinet in the corner, his hands working frantically at the combination lock. "Paul?" George asked, his voice a mixture of surprise and gentle reprimand. Paul Thayer spun around, his face pale, dropping a folder to the floor. The young man's eyes were wide with panic. "What are you doing here?" George asked, stepping fully into the room and switching on the overhead light. Paul stumbled backward, his breathing shallow. "Well, you gave me a scare, Mr. Enright." "What are you doing here, Paul?" George repeated, his tone firm but not unkind. "Come on out. Come on." Paul tried to force a casual smile, though his hands were trembling. "Well, I am working student desk this week. I came back because I left a book. I am cramming for exams, so I've got to go." George looked at the open filing cabinet, his expression saddening. He knew the pressures these students faced, but this was a boundary that could not be crossed. "You opened a private file, did you not, Paul? How did you learn the combination?" "I did not take the money," Paul stammered, stepping back again. "All right, Paul." George sighed, resting a hand on the edge of the desk. "I think we better go talk to my sister about this." "I did not take anything, Mr. Enright," Paul pleaded, his voice rising in desperation. "I did not take anything." In his panic, Paul darted forward, attempting to push past the older man. George reached out to steady the boy, but their feet tangled. In the brief, chaotic struggle, George lost his footing on the polished hardwood floor. He fell backward, his head striking the heavy brass base of a floor lamp with a terrible, hollow sound. George slumped to the floor, completely still. Paul stood frozen, the air trapped in his lungs. He stared at the unmoving figure, his mind a whirlpool of terror. Just then, footsteps echoed in the corridor. Charles Lomax, a fellow student with a sharp mind and a manipulative streak, slipped into the room. "What is the rush?" Charles whispered, closing the door behind him. Then his eyes fell on George on the floor. "You died, did you not?" "Charles, listen," Paul gasped, grabbing his friend's arm. "George Enright caught me at it. It is awful. We have got to get help." Charles coolly brushed Paul's hand away, his eyes scanning the room. "Haste makes waste, Paul. Now tell me again, without the emotional embellishment." "I did not mean to," Paul sobbed quietly. "Tell me, Paul, what is awful?" Charles asked, his voice steady, analyzing the situation with frightening detachment. "I think I killed him," Paul whispered. "You think?" Charles replied, raising an eyebrow. "If you are ever going to be a newspaper man, always make sure of the facts." Charles knelt beside George, checking for a pulse. Finding none, he stood up, his face an unreadable mask. "Come on, back to the scene of the crime." "This makes you the first murderer I have ever known," Charles said dryly. Paul stumbled toward the telephone on the desk. "I am going to call the police. Operator?" Charles reached out and firmly disconnected the line. "Your mouth is dry, dear boy. The adrenaline is short-circuiting your brain, and you will botch everything. The police, bumbling as they are, will ask questions. What were you doing there, Paul Thayer? And your buddy, your pal, Charles Lomax? What brought him to the headmistress's office? Do you want to tell them all that, Paul?" Paul buried his face in his hands. "What are we going to do?" "Hang in there, Paul," Charles instructed, rolling up his sleeves. "You take the head. I will take the feet. Come on, Paul, he will not bite you." In the dark of the night, driven by misguided fear, The two boys moved the poor man away from the office, carrying him out to the rugged cliffside on the edge of the campus grounds. Charles, thinking several steps ahead, pulled a silver flask from his jacket. "Bottle," Charles muttered, splashing the harsh-smelling whiskey over George's clothing. "Let that be a lesson to you. That is what happens to alcoholics who cannot stay away from their booze. They get into all kinds of terrible accidents, sometimes fatal." The next morning, the campus awoke to a profound tragedy. The loss of George Enright sent a wave of quiet mourning through the academy. Days later, beneath the sprawling branches of ancient oak trees, the funeral service was held. The air was cool and crisp, carrying the scent of pine and freshly turned earth. The minister stood before the gathered mourners, his voice gentle and comforting. "And there shall be no night there," the minister read, his words bringing a soft solace to the weeping crowd. "And they need no candle, neither light of the sun. For the Lord God giveth them light, and they shall reign forever and ever." Janet sat in the front row, wrapped in a dark coat, her face composed but etched with a deep, silent sorrow. "And he said unto me, These sayings are faithful and true. And the Lord God of the holy prophets sent his angel to show unto his servants the things which must be true. Behold, I come quickly. Blessed is he that keepeth the sayings of the prophecy of this book."
Amen.
As the service concluded, friends and colleagues stepped forward to offer their condolences. Victor approached Janet, offering a supportive arm. "Is there anything I can do to help you now?" Victor asked softly. "Oh, of course, Ralph, thank you." "Thank you," Janet whispered, acknowledging another colleague nearby. She turned to Victor. "I am fine, thank you. It was a lovely service. I appreciate it. I will call on you later." "Sure now. Go on, get out of here," Victor said gently, stepping back. "I am fine," Janet repeated, taking a deep breath of the autumn air. As the crowd slowly dispersed, a tall, distinguished man with silver hair and a kind, weathered face approached Janet. He moved with a calm, unhurried grace that spoke of a lifetime of observation. "Barnaby Jones?" Janet asked, recognizing the private investigator she had contacted. "Yes, Miss Enright," Barnaby replied, removing his hat respectfully. "You have my sympathy, Miss Enright. I did not know if I should come now or wait." "I am glad you did," Janet said, her voice steadying with sudden resolve. "I want my brother's name cleared, whatever it may cost." They began to walk slowly along the winding path away from the cemetery. "Well, since I was driving through town, I stopped and had a talk with Lieutenant Roth," Barnaby explained, his tone conversational, like an old friend. "And did he convince you that George stole that money?" Janet asked, a hint of defensiveness in her tone. "Well, let us say he made a good start." Barnaby smiled kindly. Janet stopped and looked Barnaby directly in the eye. "Mr. Jones, Lieutenant Roth did not know my brother. I would like to tell you about him. This was George. He loved books. When we agreed that I would take control of the school, he insisted on earning his keep, as he put it, by staying on as our librarian. Am I right?" Barnaby nodded slowly, listening with deep empathy. "In your statement to the police, you said that your brother gave up drinking about 8 months ago." "Yes, as soon as I had officially taken over the school," Janet explained, her eyes misty but proud. "I assumed that he just no longer needed whiskey as an escape from responsibility." "What do you figure set him off drinking that night?" Barnaby asked gently. "I do not know how George got to the cliff," Janet said, her voice trembling slightly. "I do not know how the whiskey got on him. I do not know how the money from the tennis fund got into his pockets. I only know one thing. My brother. He did not need to steal." Later that afternoon, Janet took Barnaby into the old campus library. The air smelled of old paper and leather. She pointed to a glass-encased bookshelf. "Look, look," she said, her voice echoing softly. "The shelf here. All first editions. This set of Longfellow alone. It is worth thousands. If my brother wanted money for liquor or anything else, he could have sold it. Was the man who lived here a thief?" Barnaby studied the rare volumes, his keen mind turning over the pieces of the puzzle. Janet was right. A man who cherished books would not leave a fortune in literature untouched only to steal a small cash fund from a safe. There was a missing piece, and Barnaby was determined to find it. Out on the sunlit tennis courts, the rhythmic thwack of a tennis ball echoed through the warm afternoon. Coach Ron Fannin, an energetic and athletic man, was running drills with his students. "This is called doubles, Lomax," Coach Fannin called out, tossing a ball into the air. "Now, in doubles, you let your partner hit the ball when it comes into his side of the court." "Okay." Charles Lomax, leaning lazily on his racket, rolled his eyes at his partner, Willie Grand. "Oh, good Lord. Mid-year finals here all next week, and then the college entrance examinations, and then the University of California stuff. What difference does it make? You're going to flunk them all anyway." Up in the administration office, the daily routine continued. Barnaby Jones stood near the main desk, observing the bustling environment. A student assistant, busy with paperwork, looked up as Janet entered. "Everything under control, Eddie?" Janet asked kindly. "Yeah, no sweat, ma'am," the boy replied. Victor Stern, the college counselor, was handing a thick brochure to an anxious-looking parent. "Here, Mr. Cater, please. You take this booklet and you read it carefully at your leisure, and if you have any questions whatsoever, you do not hesitate to ask anyone in this office, okay?" Victor turned and saw Janet and Barnaby. "Well, Paul, we will need the—" Victor started to say to a student helper, then stopped. "Oh, Janet. I did not think you would be in today." "Why, I can handle anything that comes up." "I really want a Victor," Janet said bravely. She gestured toward the detective. "This is Mr. Jones. Mr. Jones, this is our college counselor, Victor Stern." "How do you do, sir?" Victor extended his hand warmly. "How do you do, Mr. Stern?" Barnaby replied, returning the firm handshake. "As you know," Janet explained to Victor, "I was not satisfied with Lieutenant Roth's reports, and so I have asked Mr. Jones to come from Los Angeles to make some further investigations for me. If he needs anything, I know you will give him all the help you can." "Of course, Mr. Jones, anything I can do," Victor assured him with an accommodating smile. "Thank you, Mr. Stern." Barnaby nodded gracefully. Victor turned back to the student working at the side desk. "Paul, I will need 50 copies of this college requirement." Paul Thayer, looking slightly pale but trying to maintain a diligent facade, nodded quickly. "Yes, sir. 50 copies right away." Down at the courts, the tennis match wrapped up. "Set. Match." "Nice going, guys," Coach Fannin called out. He jogged over to the net. "Ross, I want to show you why that second serve of yours is not working, okay? Lomax. Now, maybe you've got the rest of the school conned into thinking that you are the greatest thing since sliced bread, but on a tennis court, you are nothing but a second-rate grandstander." As the coach walked away to help another student, Willie jogged up to Charles. "Lucky idiots. We can beat them any 4 out of 5 sets." "Yeah, if you let your partner play, Lomax," Paul said, walking up to join them, his face tight with anxiety. "When I draw a lousy partner, Whitney, I have to try to carry him," Charles scoffed, wiping sweat from his forehead. "Big deal," Paul muttered. He grabbed Charles's arm. "Charles, I've got to talk to you." "Only 1 autograph per customer, please," Charles quipped arrogantly. "Did you hear that grandstander crack? Boy, you give a guy like Fannin a little authority and he turns into a dictator." "Listen, we are in trouble," Paul hissed, pulling Charles toward the shadow of the bleachers. The official verdict was accidental death while intoxicated. "Yeah, well, you know that guy who came in late to the cemetery?" Paul continued, his voice trembling. "He is a private detective from Los Angeles that Enright hired." "How do you know?" Charles asked, his casual demeanor slipping just a fraction. "Because I keep my biggers open, that is how," Paul whispered fiercely. "He is up in our office right now going over the whole thing. I am telling you, he has got to find out." "He will not have time to find out," Charles replied, his eyes narrowing as his mind began to spin a new web. "Not if we handle it right." "You have handled it so far, and we are going down the drain," Paul argued. "No, Paul," Charles said smoothly, patting his friend's shoulder with chilling calmness. Neither of us is going down the drain nor down the tube, nor up the creek. A little spice has been added to the brew, that is all. It was an accident. I am going to tell. Paul threatened weakly. Charles's grip on Paul's shoulder tightened into a vice. You are not going to burn yourself, and you are not going to burn me. Do you understand? What are we going to do? Paul pleaded. We have to make sure that our tall, straight, gray-haired private investigator from Lotus Land finds his criminal, do we not? Charles mused, a dark smile playing on his lips. And clears the blot from the Enright escutcheon. But how? We have to throw a little light into the darkness, Charles whispered conspiratorially. I was thinking that it is inconceivable that Paul Thayer, class vice president, honors student, etc., is the type of young man who goes around robbing people and killing them in fits of temper. But he is. Full of psychological hang-ups, understandably uptight about his position. Stop it, Paul begged. Yes, Charles concluded, looking out toward the courts. I am afraid Mr. Fannin killed old George. Strong, powerful man with a hot temper. He is liable to do anything, even murder. Later that afternoon, Barnaby was walking the campus grounds, admiring the historic architecture, when two young men approached him. They looked like the perfect picture of bright, promising youth. Hello, Mr. Jones. Paul greeted him with a polite, practiced smile. I am Paul Thayer. This is Charles Lomax. How do you do? Charles added smoothly. How do you do, sir? Barnaby replied, his eyes twinkling with friendly curiosity. Thayer? Lomax. Yeah, I have been reading about you. You are, president of the senior class, editor of the paper, a lot of school activity. I am from the East, Mr. Jones, Charles said charmingly. I learned to stuff ballot boxes at my father's knee. Paul cleared his throat. Is there anything we can do to help, sir? Well, Barnaby paused, looking thoughtful. Yeah, there might be, especially since you are on the paper. Any idea how this flashbulb got in the closet? Barnaby produced a small, used photography flashbulb from his coat pocket. I cannot imagine, sir, Charles said smoothly. He turned to Paul. Why, Paul, this is the size you use. You must have dropped it. Paul blinked, caught off guard. Me? How could I have dropped it? Our layout on George Enright, remember? Charles prompted smoothly. You took 3 or 4 shots up here. Oh, yeah. Paul fumbled, trying to catch his friend's rhythm. Yeah, sure. I guess it is mine. I am always losing them, you know? Oh, Barnaby nodded slowly, putting the bulb away. Do you have any offices besides Los Angeles, Mr. Jones, working with other private investigators? Charles asked, attempting to steer the conversation and gather intel. Barnaby chuckled, a rich, warm sound. You know, that is as good a loaded question as I ever heard. 3 pieces of information at 1 crack. Where did you hear that I was? Well, of course, all good newspaper men know what is going on around them, do they not? Charles replied without missing a beat. You are investigating Mr. Enright's murder, are you not? The inquest, did not seem to find any reason for assuming murder, Barnaby pointed out mildly. Did you discuss your theory with anyone else, at the time of the inquest? Charles pressed. No, Barnaby said. Then I was not sure of my ground. But I am very sure of it now. And there's a lot more than meets the eye in this whole tragic mess, Mr. Jones. Willie Grand, the 3rd member of their group, stepped forward, right on cue. A witness talked to Charles. And when I was going back to the dorm from the auditorium, 10:30 or so, I saw somebody go in the administration building. That is where Miss Enright's office is. You know. Recognize him, Willie? Barnaby asked, his tone encouraging. Not exactly. It was too far away, Willie recited. A man, definitely. Just a guy. Medium build. Well, that is, not very much to go on, Barnaby mused, rubbing his chin. I thought of one of those borderline facts, too, but possibly enough to have the verdict questioned, Charles added helpfully. Yeah, well, as I say, that is, not very much, but, you never know, Barnaby smiled. Well, thank you, gentlemen. Good luck on those exams. As the detective ambled away, Paul let out a breath he had been holding. Did I do all right? Not bad at all. Charles smirked, watching Barnaby's retreating figure. Bit of the hook, bit of the line. Next, the sinker. But I do not get it, Paul whispered, confused. Why did you not want me to give him the name? Charles sighed with dramatic patience. It has been almost a week, you idiot. You cannot wait all this time and then up and say, oh, by the way, I forgot to mention it, but I happened to see Ron Fannin, the tennis whiz, up there with old George the night he was totaled. Police are like turkeys in November. Start feeding them a bunch of garbage, they get suspicious. Now, Paul, got your checkbook handy? My checkbook? Paul asked nervously. Write out a check for $100 payable to the tennis committee fund, Charles instructed, pulling a pen from his pocket. Let us see. Today is the 17th. Old George died on the 14th. Date it 2 days before that, the 12th. What is the idea? Paul asked, his hand shaking as he wrote. Just do it, Paul, Charles demanded. When Paul handed over the check, Charles took out a lighter and carefully singed the edges, making it look as though it had been rescued from a fire. What did you have me write it for, if you are just going to burn it? Paul asked, bewildered. You gotta feed them their clues bit by bit. Charles smiled, a cold, calculating gleam in his eye. That way they will swallow it all. That evening, the boys snuck down to the local cemetery. The moon was hidden behind a thick bank of clouds. Charles carried a small spade. Then I have some good news and some bad news, Charles whispered to Paul as they approached the freshly turned earth of George Enright's grave. First the good news, you have dug far enough. Now the bad news. Open it. Paul recoiled in horror. It is getting late. Open the coffin. How about that, Paul? Charles taunted softly. He is smiling at you. Who is going to do it? Why, you. You are responsible for the poor man's demise. It is the least you can do. Trembling, Paul reached down. They carefully opened the lid just enough to slip a small item inside, inadvertently letting loose cemetery dirt fall into the pristine casket. Gently, Charles hissed. I think we are ready for the final touches. Mr. Fannin himself. The next morning, the campus was buzzing with shocking news. A police cruiser was parked outside the main administration building. Janet stood on the steps, looking bewildered, as Barnaby Jones walked up to her. What is all that, Miss Enright? Barnaby asked, nodding toward the flashing lights. They arrested Ron Fannin for murdering George, Janet said, her voice trembling with disbelief. Lieutenant Roth said that George must have surprised him while he was trying to break into the cabinet. He killed George. Then, he tried to make it look like an accident. That is a mighty far cry from their first verdict, Barnaby noted, his brow furrowing. That first verdict was death while intoxicated, Janet insisted. George could not have been drunk. Let us see the boys first. Fannin is with his lawyer right now, Barnaby mused. He goes before Judge Perry for arraignment at 4 o'clock. At the local police station, Barnaby walked into Lieutenant Roth's office. The room smelled of stale coffee and old paperwork. Things are moving pretty fast, are they not, Hank? Barnaby asked mildly, taking a seat. Hello, Mr. Jones. Lieutenant Roth greeted him, looking immensely satisfied. They are bringing you in on this officially. I understand you three have had a busy day. Look, you understand why we could not bring everything to you first, Barnaby said smoothly. Perfectly, but Lieutenant Roth and I are not in competition for a prize. We are both in the same business. Yeah, same business, different pay, Roth chuckled. Lieutenant has been telling me that you boys have been poking around down below the cliff, and you came up with some new evidence. Roth held up a small plastic evidence bag. Inside was an ornate brass button. Charles found it near where they found the body. A Wimbledon button. I have heard of Wimbledon tennis, but what is a Wimbledon button? Barnaby asked, examining the object closely. This part of me, Roth explained proudly. It is like an Olympic button. And this is his official Wimbledon blazer we found in his closet. Roth pointed to a navy blue jacket hanging on a coat rack in the corner. One brass button was noticeably missing. Well, you were lucky to find it, Barnaby said, his tone utterly neutral. Oh, yes, sir. Roth beamed. We thought the police might have overlooked something when they searched the area originally. And we all know how understaffed this office is. So, with the button, plus what Grand here told us, I got a search warrant, and it paid off. Roth opened a file and pulled out a partially burned slip of paper, made out by Paul Thayer to the Tennis Committee Fund. We found it in a pile of ashes in Fannon's fireplace. I thought all the loot was on Enright. Well, when Fannin suddenly found himself mixed up in a murder, he planted everything on Enright to make it look like an accident, Roth theorized confidently. He overlooked that and burned it when he got home. Barnaby hummed, his eyes narrowing slightly. Pretty dumb not to have made sure it burned completely. Well, maybe, but I am not about to look a gift horse in the mouth, Barnaby, Roth replied, leaning back in his chair. Especially if he is dumb enough to leave a murder weapon around. A weapon? Barnaby asked, mildly surprised. Oh, Hank. Looks like you got this whole thing wrapped up, Barnaby said lightly, observing the items. Fannin cellar, Roth declared, pointing to a photograph of a heavy wooden racket press. These hairs were stuck in a switch. They were caught there after he fatally struck Enright after Enright caught him stealing. The medical examiner confirmed, of course. They checked against those from the autopsy. The victim's hair, definitely. Well, looks like I have only got one question to ask you all, Barnaby drawled softly, a hidden sharpness in his gaze. When is the hanging? Down the hall in the holding cell, Ron Fannin paced furiously like a caged tiger. He was a proud man, and the injustice of the situation burned in his eyes. Barnaby stood quietly on the other side of the bars. Well, I do not need a private eye. I need a lawyer, Fannin snapped, glaring at Barnaby. I am not looking for a fee, Mr. Fannin, Barnaby said, his voice calm and soothing. I have permission to talk to you if you want to talk to me. How about it? You cannot help me a bit, Fannin growled, gripping the bars. Somebody has got me in a box, and they want to keep me here. No, I do not want to talk to you, Jones. Damn it. Would you leave me alone? I know you are mad, Mr. Fannin. I do not blame you, Barnaby said patiently. I just do not believe you are as stupid as Lieutenant Roth must think you are. The case they got against you is pretty convincing. If people want to believe you pulled a dozen dumb moves in the space of an hour. Fannin let out a harsh breath, his shoulders slumping slightly. He looked at the guard. Okay, let him in. The cell door clanged open, and Barnaby stepped inside, offering a reassuring smile. Now, what is in all this for you? Fannin asked suspiciously. Barnaby took a slow breath, his eyes filled with a quiet integrity. Well, I got myself right in the middle of something I sure did not expect. All of a sudden, funny questions started getting funny answers. I do not know quite how to explain this to you, but there is something sticking way inside of me here. He tapped his chest gently. I do not know if that is my craw or my gullet or what, but anyway, there is something sticking in there, and I want to get it unstuck. That is all. Fannin looked at the older man, finally sensing an ally. Yeah, well, I got a belly full of my own, too. Well, let us start spitting them out, Barnaby encouraged kindly. Do you know, what Roth is counting on all of it? Well, Fannin sighed, ticking them off on his fingers. There is the flashlight, there is Mr. Enright's hair, there is the blazer button, the tennis fund check, the fact that I knew that there was a couple of $1,000s in the safe. That is a pretty neat package. Yeah, but to begin with, I do not even know the combination, Fannin pointed out, his frustration rising again. The beauty of circumstantial evidence is that nobody has to prove how you got into the filing cabinet, only that it is obvious you did, Barnaby explained mildly. That is about as logical as Willie Grand saying he saw someone who looked like me about the time that Mr. Enright was killed, Fannin scoffed. And what do you say to that? Barnaby asked. Well, now, death was supposed to have been about, 10:30, right? Fannin asked. Do you ever take a few minutes? Barnaby nodded. Did you ask Janet Enright where she was about then? Fannin challenged. Barnaby raised an eyebrow. What? She is my alibi, Mr. Jones, Fannin stated firmly. She was with me. Ask your client. An hour later, Barnaby sat in Janet Enright's office. The late afternoon sun painted long shadows across the floor. Janet looked exhausted but relieved. I have been telling George that he can rest easy now. Janet smiled softly. He has been exonerated. An arrest is not exactly a conviction, you know, Barnaby gently reminded her. Janet frowned, confused by his tone. Mr. Fannin tells me that, when you left the auditorium that night, you and he talked about the tournament until he left you at your door. That is true, Janet nodded. And you left a little after 10 o'clock. No, I think so, Janet agreed hesitantly. Well, it is, about 15 minutes from the auditorium to Wyndham House, Barnaby calculated smoothly. I walked it today. And another 15 minutes back to the administration building. Let us say, a few minutes for talk. That is about 45 minutes, right? Mr. Jones, the authorities have gone into all of this, Janet said, her voice tightening with a sudden, protective anxiety. They have proof of what Mr. Fannin did. It is not proof if Mr. Fannin could not be there, Barnaby countered softly. Now, I am practically convinced that he could not have taken you to your door, gotten back to your offices, gotten up and struggled with your brother, and had death occur at the time the coroner said it did. I am sorry, but Janet stood up, flustered. It is really out of my hands, and I must go. Miss Enright, Barnaby said, his voice carrying a gentle but unyielding moral weight. Very little honor will accrue to your brother's name if it is done at the expense of an innocent man. Janet stopped, the truth of his words piercing her heart. Of course not, she whispered. But how can anyone be sure of how long we were talking or of how fast we walked? You brought up time and the clock. No one has suggested that Mr. Fannin, who is an athlete, might well have run back across campus. If you run to a place you intend to rob, witnesses are inclined to remember it, Barnaby reasoned patiently. Mr. Jones, you and we both believe in logic, Janet pleaded, desperate for the nightmare to be over. Yes, Miss Enright, that we do, Barnaby nodded. All right. What motive could there have been for this crime except money? Janet asked, her voice rising slightly. Ron Fannin was in my office trying to steal $2,000. Now, it was money that he knew was there, because he had given it to me. There is no other motive. She walked toward the door. And now you must excuse me. I have a million things to do. Good afternoon, Barnaby said softly as she left the room. He walked out into the courtyard, deep in thought. The campus gardener was adjusting a set of sprinklers on the lush green lawn. Oh, good afternoon, Barnaby called out cheerfully. You certainly keep things pretty around here. Oh, thank you very much, the gardener smiled, wiping his brow. How often do you water this time of year? Barnaby asked, looking at the soft earth. Oh, I usually turn the sprinklers on about evening this time of the year for about an hour and a half, the gardener replied. You would think that earth would have settled more, would you not? Barnaby murmured to himself, a piece of the puzzle sliding firmly into place. Inside the main lecture hall, Victor Stern was addressing a group of anxious seniors. I know that some of you are not going to be happy with these exam schedules, but I have done the fairest I can, Victor announced over the groans of the students. Some of you will have 2 finals in one day. It cannot be helped. Oh, it is hot. As the students grumbled and filed out, Charles and Paul walked past Victor. Good afternoon, sir. Charles smiled charmingly. Good afternoon, Victor nodded. Good afternoon, Mr. Stern, Paul added, though his smile was strained. Barnaby intercepted them in the hallway. That was quite a job of detective work you young fellows did. Oh, well, Charles deserves all the credit, sir. Paul deflected nervously. No, it was a real collaboration, Charles insisted modestly. Would you like a copy of the Gazette, Mr. Jones? Thank you. Barnaby accepted the school newspaper, his eyes twinkling. Later, Barnaby returned to the administration office. The secretary looked up from her typing. Is Miss Enright expecting you, Mr. Jones? She asked politely. Well, I would like to talk to her if she is not too busy, Barnaby smiled. Victor stepped out of his office. Janet, Mr. Jones is in the outer office. How is the case coming? Oh, Judge Perry has set Monday for the preliminary hearing, Janet said, coming to the door. No bail. Mr. Jones. Miss Enright, Barnaby began, stepping into her office. I have been thinking what you said about a motive. Now, what if there was something else inside that filing cabinet that somebody wanted more than money? Janet sighed, walking behind her desk. She pulled out a sleek envelope and held it out to him. Here is a check for your services. I think you will find it more than satisfactory. Barnaby looked at the envelope but did not take it. Well, I will be glad to take it when I feel that I have followed through. Right now, if you do not mind, I would like to have one more look at what is inside that cabinet and a chance to ask a few more questions. Janet's expression hardened, protective of her school's reputation. I am afraid I will have to say no. Our school has had more than its share of scandal. I see no point in raking around a problem that the police have already solved, at least to my satisfaction. She looked away. To put it bluntly, your services are no longer required. Barnaby nodded slowly, accepting her decision with quiet grace. But his eyes told a different story. He was not giving up. Later that evening, with the help of Victor Stern, who shared Barnaby's dedication to the truth, they discreetly opened the filing cabinet. Barnaby carefully sifted through the academic records. I feel just like a conspirator, Victor whispered nervously, glancing at the door. And I cannot say I like it. Let us go in here, Barnaby hummed, pulling out 3 specific student files.
Yep.
More of the same. All 3 of them. Charles Lomax, Paul Thayer, William Grand. All came to Enright with poor or failing grades. Then, sometime in the second semester, the grades shot up to A, even straight A's. Spectacular, Victor breathed, looking at the transcripts. Not all that unusual, especially when boys decide to knuckle down to work. And when some students come to a demanding prep school, Mr. Jones, they learn to test better, Victor reasoned hopefully. Or when they happen to know the answers to the exams beforehand, Barnaby said gently, shining a light on the truth. I thought it would shock you when I said that. I do not know what you are getting at. All these final exams, questions and answers, were they always kept in that one filing cabinet with a combination lock? Barnaby asked. Yes, as long as I have been here, Victor confirmed. Then it was not the money the thief was after, Barnaby concluded, closing the drawer. It was the answer to the exam questions. And you think somebody beside Mr. Fannin was the one? Victor gasped, the reality dawning on him. That would explain all that. Cheating during an exam is one thing. It is bad enough, but I cannot believe this, Mr. Jones. Barnaby looked at his watch. How much longer are these exams going to last today?
What?
Oh, 25 minutes. Victor checked the schedule. This is the last one. And when will they know the result? They are tabbed by computer, Victor explained. They will be posted on the bulletin boards by 4:30. Suddenly, footsteps echoed in the hallway. Sho, Barnaby whispered. Mr. Jones, come here. I must get back. And you should not be here either. One more favor, Barnaby asked quickly, his eyes intent. It is important. I want you to fail Charles Lomax and Willie Grand, but not Paul Thayer. Victor looked horrified. Why, I have no right to tamper with any grades. Their entire futures depend on these tests. Maybe Ron Fannin's does, too. What good would it do? Victor asked, struggling with his ethics. Suppose one made the usual 95, 98 on the test, but the other 2 did not, Barnaby explained, his voice low and persuasive. Then it would be obvious that the guy that made the high grades had pulled a fast one on his buddies. And if that happens, we might see some fireworks. Well, Charles is the ringleader, Mr. Jones. Shouldn't he be the one to get the best marks? Victor reasoned. No. Barnaby shook his head wisely. He is the ringleader, as you say, because he is smart enough not to do the dirty work. He gets stooges to do that. And Paul Thayer is exactly the type that Charles would pick. At 4:30, the campus courtyard was alive with nervous energy as students crowded around the bulletin boards. Hey, I passed, one student shouted joyfully. Way to go, another cheered. How are you supposed to remember all those dumb dates? A third groaned. Standing near the edge of the crowd, Barnaby watched as Charles, Paul, and Willie approached the board. I thought you would be gone by now, Mr. Jones, Charles said, a smug smile on his face. If I am trespassing, I apologize. Barnaby tipped his hat mildly. But as I told you, I wanted to get to the bottom of this. Get at the truth is what I said. And I would certainly think you would, too. Yes, you told me what you assumed, Charles retorted confidently. I would like to know how you expect to prove it. Out of the mouths of babes, I hope. Barnaby smiled a secret smile. Victor Stern hurried over, looking flustered and apologetic. Victor, I would like to see you for a minute. How did you do, fellas? Another student asked the trio as they checked the list. We aced it, Charles boasted before even looking. 2 98s and a 99. Very fair test, Mr. Stern, Charles added loudly. But Victor shook his head, looking directly at Barnaby. I am sorry, Mr. Jones. I just could not do it. I could not cheat like that. I just could not take the chance. Barnaby sighed softly, understanding the counselor's moral boundary. But the trap was already set in a different way. A promise is a promise, Willie, Charles was saying, oblivious to the net closing around him.
Yeah, no kidding.
You know, with finals like these, we can get into any college we want. We can make it Stanford. I was promised a smashing Italian convertible, Willie added happily, and I certainly cannot ride around with the top down all year at Harvard. Barnaby stepped forward, his gentle demeanor shifting into something possessing the unstoppable force of a quiet tide. How are you riding around on that road down by the cliff where George Enright's body was found? Barnaby asked, his voice cutting through the celebratory chatter. Charles's smile vanished. Miss Enright told all of us on student desk duty who did not have permission to be on school property, Mr. Jones. Want to call a cop? Actually, we all have something to do, and... Willie started to back away. You have nowhere to go, Paul, Barnaby said, fixing his steady gaze on the most vulnerable of the three. Thanks, Lomax, Barnaby continued, addressing Charles but never taking his eyes off Paul. I like your style. You see a problem, you let me hit it head on. You know, I love the old philosopher routine you use on people, Jones, Charles sneered, crossing his arms. But why do we not get down to the truth? Suits me fine, except that this does not exactly concern you that personally, Lomax, Barnaby countered smoothly. I wanted to talk to Thayer here, but you can go if you want.
No.
Paul blurted out, terrified of being left alone with the detective. I mean, well, why not? Barnaby smiled kindly at Paul. You are all for one for all, anyway, are you not? Barnaby pulled a folded piece of paper from his pocket. This, is just yours, Paul, and, I do not see how anyone else could even know about it. It is a photostatic copy of your check that was found in Fannon's fireplace. Numbered 1007, written on the 12th. That is 2 days before Mr. Enright died. Paul swallowed hard, his eyes darting to Charles. I cannot figure how come 3 days later on the 15th, you wrote 2 checks, one numbered 1006 and one 1005. Earlier numbers, Barnaby pointed out, his logic flawless and gentle. Something fishy about the date. Well, it could happen, Paul stammered, sweating profusely. I mean, if I wrote it out of order, it could happen. But you did not write them out of order, did you, Paul? Barnaby pressed softly. You dated it 3 days before you wrote it, did you not? Yes, Paul whispered, unable to lie under that honest gaze. His bank would not give out that kind of information, Charles interjected, his voice sharp with rising panic. What did you do, Jones? Did you just bribe some stupid clerk? No, I just took a shot in the dark, and Paul gave me the answer. Barnaby smiled warmly. Something else kind of funny. This, Gazette you gave me the other day, Barnaby pulled out the school newspaper. What about it? Charles snapped. Well, Paul, this picture you took of the people at the funeral, take a look at it. Barnaby unfolded the paper. Seem a little unusual to you? Particularly Fannin. Well, it is kind of small, so I made an enlargement. Barnaby produced a glossy photograph. See, all the buttons are on the Wimbledon jacket. How do you figure? Paul stared at the photo, the blood draining from his face. Let me see that.
No,
Paul, you tell me, Barnaby urged gently. How could all the buttons be on the jacket when one of them was lost 3 days ago at the cliff? Fannin simply sewed on a new button. Charles offered desperately, the cracks in his armor widening. A new button? After the murder, Barnaby mused aloud, shaking his head, and tore it off days later when the police searched his apartment. Does that seem right, Paul? He sewed it on badly, I suppose, Charles spat out. Look, I really gotta call my family, Willie interrupted, his nerve completely broken. I promise I will. I will wait, Willie.
Now.
Barnaby took a step closer, delivering the final, devastating piece of the puzzle. How about George Enright's coffin? The people at the cemetery are absolutely mystified. They cannot figure how bits of earth got inside the coffin. You see, it was sealed at the funeral home. Yesterday, I got a court order to dig it up. And we found dirt. Dirt from the cemetery inside the coffin. So somebody must have opened it, right? Opened it after the burial. How could anybody do that? Barnaby looked directly into Paul's terrified eyes. Have you got any ideas, Paul? I do not know, Paul choked out, tears welling in his eyes. Come on, tell us what really happened, Paul, Barnaby encouraged, offering him a lifeline to the truth. Please, Mr. Jones, it was an accident that night. Paul cried out, the guilt finally overflowing. Shut your mouth, you stupid idiot. Charles screamed, his charming facade completely shattered, revealing the frightened, selfish boy underneath. Please, you have got to believe me, Paul sobbed, turning to Barnaby. I did not mean to kill him. It was an accident. I told you we should have called the police. I told you you should have let me. I will do that for you now, Paul, Barnaby said gently, placing a comforting hand on the boy's shaking shoulder. Charles paced frantically, like a cornered animal. Cannot you take the pressure? Cannot you keep any cool at all? Everything was working perfect. Everything has worked perfect for years, damn it. In 5 minutes, you blow everything I have set up for you. Barnaby looked at Charles, his expression filled with a profound, sorrowful pity. Come on, get me the sheriff's office, please. Lieutenant Roth, if he is on duty. Damn it me, Charles muttered to himself, lost in his own arrogance. They would be nowhere without me. Have you ever figured out how to get those examinations? I did. 3 years ago. I broke that combination. You know how? I used my brain. I figured it out. I knew that it would have to be something simple. Something right in front of everyone's nose. Charles looked up, a bitter, twisted smile on his face. Janet Enright's birthday. June 18th, 1932. June 18th, 1932. She is not 38 like she tells everyone. She is 40 years old. Born in 1932. Later that evening, after the police had arrived and the terrible truth had finally been brought into the light, Barnaby sat quietly in Janet Enright's office, once more. The heavy burden of a false accusation had been lifted, but a lingering sadness remained in the room. Ruined, Janet said softly, looking out the window at the quiet, moonlit campus. Thank heaven he is all right now. I was so anxious to clear my brother that I let myself be blind to everything and everyone. And those boys. Where did I go wrong? Where do we all go wrong? Barnaby stood up slowly, putting on his hat. He moved to her side, looking out at the ancient oak trees standing tall in the night. Find problems like this in the slums of the city. You're not surprised, but... Janet shook her head, tears shining in her eyes. It happens in the best of families. Even here, where they have all the advantages. Barnaby offered a warm, comforting smile. Well, there is a lot to do, Miss Enright. The truth is a heavy thing, but it is the only foundation you can build on. These boys learned a hard lesson today, but perhaps it is the one lesson that will save their lives in the long run. They have to face the consequences, but they have their whole lives to make it right, just like George did. Janet looked at the detective, a profound sense of gratitude washing over her. The shadow over her brother's memory was gone, replaced by the enduring light of his final, honorable days. Thank you, Mr. Jones, Janet said, her voice filled with deep, sincere appreciation. Goodbye, Miss Enright. Barnaby nodded gracefully, turning and walking out into the quiet night, leaving behind a place of learning that had just weathered its hardest test, ready to heal, ready to teach again.